Hello, in this video I will show you how to set up and organize the content inside your TransPoser reference symbol, or what we call the ref. The reference symbol is used as storage for your pose presets, which are later transposed via the TransPoser panel into your actual animation timeline. Any graphic symbol can become a ref as long as it contains other symbols. Only symbol-based poses can be transposed. So in this case, we'll continue to use our bunny as an example. And this head here is just a container inside which I've played and created a bunch of different angles. These are all symbol-based. So if we unlock and select, you will see like all of these are symbols. We have a bunch of controllers, obviously, so it's a facial rig, but this will be discussed in a separate video, how to organize your facial rigs with transformers and sliders. Now we'll just focus on setting up our reference symbol. A bunch of facial expressions and even a few silly explorations of variations. The reason I have some tweens here is because I wanted to make sure that these poses will just tween well. You don't need to have tweens, but you can have tweens. So this is basically it. Now we need to tag all these with metadata via the TransPoser panel. Let's open the panel and press this button. It asks us whether we would like to tag the instances, and once this is done, a bunch of layers are added. First of all, let's look at the layer names. A folder called Transpose and a folder called Meta. The Transpose folder is important with the fact that anything that's outside of the Transpose folder will not be transposed. So in this case, I will select the sliders and transformers and just take them out. And I will also take out the center marker and the background, because I don't want to transpose these, and only keep the head inside. And the other thing that's worth noting is that we got these labels here on some of the tweens. So if we look at what the label says, it says that easing is not allowed in ref. Tweening is allowed, but easing is not. And the easing was basically, I had used some ease outs and the easing was removed from these tweens. That's all. Now, technically, we can create thumbnails. Let's do it. Let's just press the button and just load thumbnails. So it asks us, one important thing, a suffix was added to the symbol name. So now it's called bunhead ref, and there's just this suffix to make it unique. We can rename the symbol later at any point. So let's go OK. That's what we got. We got one single thumbnail. So our job is not complete yet. Let's look at the meta layers. One of them is called thumbnails, and the other one is called groups. Thumbnails are defined by blank keyframes or labeled keyframes on the layer thumbnails. So if I want to create a thumbnail, for example, for this pose, I will just create a keyframe here. And if I want to create another thumbnail for this pose, I will create another thumbnail here. And that's it. Now if I reload the thumbnails, we'll end up with 3 thumbnails. And let's give this one a label. Let's just call it A. And reload the thumbnails. Okay, so now we have 3 thumbnails, and the first one is numbered by the frame number, the last one is numbered by the frame number, and this one with the label is labeled with its label name. Okay, let me add a few more. one for this 3/4 view, and add a couple here. And let's look into the groups as well. So by default, the thumbnails are placed in a group called group 1, but again we can name these, and let's name this group A, and let's change the name of this thumbnail. Let's call it stare. And now add another group here, and just by adding a keyframe, and call this group B. So now we'll have a group A and a group B and a bunch of thumbnails. Reload, and now the content is split into 2 groups. Group B with this, and this frame, and group A with these other 3 frames. What we can do is we can merge groups with the same labels. So if I decide to have these, a bunch of, let's add a couple more here in group B, and then add another label here and call this label A again. So now we have 2 A labels and 1 B label, and reload. We'll see that the B are the stare, frame 24 and frame 25, and then this one, which starts at frame 37, has been appended to the group A. So this is extremely flexible. You can organize your groups dynamically based on label names in the group's meta layer, or you can create thumbnails for any of the frames in the thumbnails layer. On top of that, you can actually create thumbnails even in the middle of the tween. So let's take this frame for example, and add a keyframe. Look at how it looks like. It's a tween frame, just tween, so that we know that it's a label over a tween frame. And let me just add a bunch of more keyframes here and call this group variations. All right, and reload. All right, so we have the third group, variations, and we have the tween frame. As you can see here, if we check to make sure if the pose matches, yep, it's exactly the same looking pose. So you can actually put keyframes to define a thumbnail even in the middle of a tween. Now what else? After generating the thumbnails, we can reorganize them, or we can change their background. So change the background from here. Let's say we would like to make it slightly lighter. Not happy with it, make it darker. Now we can rearrange the thumbnails by shift dragging them like that, or even moving it to a different group. We can remove some thumbnails by dropping it into the garbage bin like that. We can shrink or enlarge them by control scrolling with the scroll wheel of the mouse, or we can go to settings and input a number, say 48, apply. So these are the customizations that you can do with your thumbnails. Once the thumbnails are generated and rearranged, this state is actually saved. So you don't need to wait for regeneration until you refresh the thumbnails, and you will only refresh them if you add a new pose or if you change some pose and you want it to be reflected in the thumbnails. So if we clear the panel and go load, they will load instantaneously. Just keep in mind that all the rearrangements and customizations that we do in the panel are somehow temporary. So when we refresh, the structure will be reloaded from the meta layers. All the rearrangement that we did and deleting some of these thumbnails, they will come back. So if we want to get rid of some of the thumbnails, we have to get rid of the actual keyframes here in the thumbnails layer. And if we would like to have some rearrangements between the groups, we would like to do it with the meta group layer, with the labels and the keyframes. So all of these are in-panel rearrangements and customizations are very handy, but they are somehow temporary. As long as you don't reload or regenerate the thumbnails, they will stay. So if you close your file and reopen it and load the thumbnails, they will load intact with all the customizations. But if you refresh, you will have to customize in the panel again. So this is it. Now we have a ref symbol and we can continue with our process. Thanks for watching.